presentation. So welcome everybody to our conversation on the void, the origin of our discontent. All right, so here we go. All right, so the context of understanding the void, the context of understanding suffering, the context of understanding the need to let go and surrender, the context of this talk and the context of this idea and this concept is this idea that we all must grasp that this is not our life. This is only our ride, okay? The experience belongs to God, okay? And your body is this smart vehicle, a smart driverless vehicle. Your awareness, the choice-making part of you, is the passenger, the observer, and it's just along for the ride. And your mind is the artificial intelligence of the vehicle. When your mind tries to control the trip, it responds to you let the mind try to control how to get your desires met, and you lose out on enjoying the trip, enjoying the ride. The experience really belongs to a higher part of ourselves that we don't have, that's not us. It belongs to God or your higher self, however you want to form it. But this is not our life, it's only a ride. It's not our experience. The void is a reality of unmet satisfaction, unmet success, disharmony, and debilitating boredom that happens to us when we, the passenger, have missed the experience of living for an experience. So instead of us becoming the passenger, being okay with being the passenger and having an experience of living, what we've done is we've substituted and we've tried to live for an experience instead of just having an experience of living. And what it does is it creates a void. And this void is a reality, again, of unmet satisfaction, unmet success, disharmony, and debilitating boredom. And it is all of that unmet emptiness that we constantly keep running from and resisting at every turn and choice. Okay, again, so I want to re-stress, when you, the passenger, have missed the experience of living by living for an experience, it creates the void, because what you're doing is you're missing all of the things that are happening in your journey that are designed to bring you your satisfaction, your success, your harmony, and your sense of adventure. And the reason why you're missing it is because you have forgotten, or you've made a choice that you forget that it's not your life, it's only your ride. Okay, let's talk more about the void. So the void, really, in another sense term, it is humanity's core wound. And it's this core wound that God, or a higher power, the supreme being, has abandoned us and left us to our own self. And so it's this sense that God has abandoned us and left us starving for satisfaction, sobbing for significance, helpless for harmony, and aching for adventure. The way that we experience love as humans, we all have heard of the 5 love languages. And the way that we experience love is by having our desires met. Okay, when we have our satisfaction met or our sense of significance met, we feel loved and appreciated. And whenever we don't get something that we want, we feel abandoned. We feel disregarded. We feel we've done something wrong. If we've done everything right, we feel like there must be, I'm abandoning on this place, I'm helpless. And it creates in us this void of separation. Our love language from our parents is helping us get our desire met. From God or our parents is helping us get our desires met. And when desires are not met, we become unhappy. Having our desires met is the way we feel loved by God. When our desires go unmet, we perceive we've been abandoned. And this mental narrative of feeling abandoned and left to your own really actually causes us to feel cut off, and it creates that void. It creates like a counterforce reaction, or it creates a shadow. And that shadow is the void that we then feel or sense, and we put further energy in trying to run away from it. We put further energy to not deal with it, to not deal with that place of empty, unmet desires and unmet longings, or just lack of nothing. But what happens is it is actually our mind that are perceiving that our needs are unmet. Because we start believing that the life is ours, we mistake our desires as the goal of the journey. And so instead of being able to sit in the car and sit and be a passenger, we become so convinced that, hey, we've got to take control of the journey, of the destination, so we can get our desires met. And once they go unmet, we feel abandoned. And that abandon creates like this vicious, ongoing, growing cycle of void that continues to grow over time. And the more that void of abandonment grows, the more it creates a sense of resistance to not having your needs met. And so the threat of not having your needs met creates a resistance. It creates a sense of even further separation, and it creates a sense of true inability to relax in the car. Because now you created such a void in your space that it's almost impossible to sit back and chill out and be a passenger. Because to sit back and be a passenger, you now are going to have to deal with that void that has grew in that space while you spent so much time looking outside and missing the experience. The good news is the void is the way out of the misery. And so if you stop trying to fill up the void, but let the void fill you up, you actually get the gift of bringing you back into your power, okay? The gift of human awareness is choice making. And when you choose to surrender to being the passenger, you actually get to experience freedom. And that freedom brings peace. And that peace brings you a sense of empowerment to endure life on earth as it comes to you. And now you have a sense of power that you're ready to handle and face whatever comes your way on the road or the highway. And that is the fear, is that you're not able to, most of us feel like we can't handle what may show up. And so that's what keeps us also in resistance. We can't handle the void. We can't handle the emptiness. But once you experience the void that you created, it frees you, because now you don't have to resist it. It brings you peace, and that peace brings you power, because now you realize you don't have to keep running from it, and that you actually can surrender to whatever comes what may. Okay, so let's talk about this in more practical terms. So let's talk about the sense of starving for satisfaction. Okay, so many of us right now, there's some of us on this call who feel very abandoned, and we feel like we're left by God, and now we're out here starving for satisfaction on our own. And so your mind that's created it, the sense of abandonment to start with, it gives you this strategy that says, let's think or recall what makes you happy, go acquire it, or make it happen. And again, I'm giving this in very simplified form. And what happens is your mind does not know what is needed on the journey, because the mind has nothing to do with the experience. Remember, the experience is God's. It's not your life. It's just you're just a passenger enjoying the ride. And so if I'm a passenger in somebody else's car and I start thinking about what I want to get done on that trip, what I need to get done, and then I begin to try to calculate and change the GPS signal, I am not capable of knowing what is in that, what terrain we're navigating in. I'm not capable of knowing what I need, where I need to stick to. And I'm not capable of knowing that all of those things that I want to experience are coming up as indications of what is coming to me. And they're also indications of what I'm able to receive, what I'm built and designed to receive. All I have to do is say yes to the desires, yes to the urges. Because what it says is, hey, this is what you're about to experience. Get ready to receive this. We don't have to go and make it happen. But what happens is, because there's this underlying sense of void, we get a desire met, and our mind says, okay, well, we can get this desire met. It will fill our void. It will fill our lack. It will fill what we feel like we're missing in our lives. But what it does is when we give into the calculations of the mind, it actually takes us further away from the actual thing that is going to naturally make us satisfied. And so you have the resistance looks like this. This is what your mind is resistance. This is what I put up here. This is what the minds resist. Your mind is resisting asking, what is the inner experience that your desire is seeking to express? Or what urge are you seeking to perform? This is what your mind does not want to do. And this is what you, as the sense of awareness, have got to begin to open up to. Asking yourself, what is this desire I want? That's the only work you have to do. All you have to do is honor the desire and give gratitude for it. Thank you, God, for this longing to feel a sense of satisfaction. All right. Thank you, God, for this longing, this craving to desire for this desire, this longing to be a partner, this longing to have a successful career. That's it. All you got to do is give gratitude for it, because the desire and the urge is only there to let you know this is what you're able to and capable of receiving in your life, and this is what's coming. The moment that you give into a calculated attempt or strategy to make it happen, you are putting yourself out of the passenger seat and trying to control the vehicle. And it is only going to lead you to frustration and anger, and it's only going to create more of a sense of void. Let's talk about inspired action. So what happens is, in life, you will have an inspired action. But inspired action to get your satisfaction met is taking action already from a place of satisfaction, and not out of attempt to feel a void or feel an inadequacy or feel or get a sense of completion. But it's I'm already satisfied, and there's something that you're leading to do. There's an experience that's coming your way that's waiting for you to respond to it. And so inspired action is when you're acting already from a place of satisfaction, already from a place of fulfillment. You're not trying to avoid feeling inadequate or avoid the void, but you're acting out of a sense of, this is what I need to respond to. This is what has showed up for me. This was the thing that I desired. Here it is. Let me receive it. Because I had a desire 3 months ago, let me know I'm able to receive it. Here it is. Let me act on it. But not out of a place of starvation, not out of a place of seeking it. If you're taking an inspired, it's not inspired action if it's not coming from a place of already satisfaction. If you ever want to know, are you in inspired action? If you're doing it out of a sense of starvation or out of a place of being unsatisfied, and if you think, man, if I go after this thing and I don't get it, will I still be satisfied? And if you say, yeah, then that lets you know that you're in line in some type of inspired action. Okay. The next thing that we're struggling with, or keeping us away from our peace and our power, is this sense of what I call sobbing for success. And this is this sense of when we want to think about or try to imitate an action that we think will bring us recognition and a sense of significance. And so we try to create something that we think, or we imitate a behavior we see other people do that we think, well, this will help me get recognized. This will make me feel significant. But what happened is our mind is resisting the idea that we need to be alone, do something in secret in the now, see where there is a need in the world, and aim to address it in silence. You ain't got to tell anybody. You see something, it's brought to your attention, begin to work on it. Begin to work on it in silence and in secret, and wait for an invitation, an opportunity to share, give, and produce what you have made already in secret. And you give and you share out of the fullness, not out of a sense to fill the void. You're not giving to get recognition. You're not giving to feel success. You're not giving because that's giving is going to make you feel seen or significant, but you're giving because you already feel a sense of fullness, and you already sense a sense of fullness and fulfillment inside of you. And you're not trying to run away from, you're not trying to avoid any sense of inadequacy or the void. You're not doing it out of that. This is the part that the mind is resistance to. Okay, so if you're not starving for satisfaction, if you're not sobbing for success, then you may be a person that's helpless for harmony. And helpless for harmony, usually the strategies for someone that's helpless for harmony usually is someone who's trying to think or embody an attitude that can make others respect them or fear them so they can control their behavior and try to control the environment. And so this is a person, they feel so helpless for harm in their life. And so they're going to try to think of an attitude or a body where they can get other people to fear them, respect them. That way they can have control over their behavior, or they can control their environment and then get a sense of harmony and peace that way. But what they need to surrender to is embody a sense of vulnerability, a sense of humility, and informing people what they need and what they lack, what they are lacking inside themselves. And then take action from a place of peace and not to get your peace. All right. If you're helpless for harmony, don't take action out of a place of trying to get peace. All right. Because if you're taking action trying to get peace, you're further increasing that void and you're bringing more disharmony into your life. You first have to get your own peace, and you've got to embody a sense of vulnerability to let other people know what is lacking, what is missing, what do you need, and how can they support you in trying to get what you need. But the trick is most people that's helpless for harmony, they feel immediately that no one's going to cooperate with them. That if they're vulnerable and let people know what they need or they need help with others, it's going to be denied. So they feel even more so they got to take control. They got to be in control. They got to have an attitude of hardness, or else people will take advantage of them. They won't get what they want. They'll be taken advantage of, and then they won't get their peace. So the mind will try to get you to fill up the void with things that make you feel in harmony, instead of releasing the things that no longer serve you and find a sense of harmony and peace with those things being gone. And so when you're helpless for harmony, you will find yourself hoarding. People that are hoarders are usually trying to get some sense of peace in their life. Okay. And so what happened is this idea it leads to not being able to release things and find a sense of okayness and peace without these things that they try to fill their life up with in order to control. You don't want to let go of something because you want to be able to have control of it. You want to be able to say, well, I may need that in such and such a situation. And what it is, what you're saying is, I will want to be in control of my environment at all times. I want to be able to control. I don't want to be without control or influence. Let me hold on to that. But the more they can release things, the more they're going to be able to find a sense of harmony, not having control. And that's when they're really going to find the harmony they're deeply, deeply craving. Okay. And then the last discontentment that we suffer from when we don't allow ourselves to just enjoy the ride is this sense of aching for adventure. Okay. And so the mind strategy says, oh, let's think of something that sounds fun and amazing, and let's make it happen. But once again, everybody, your mind just does not know what you need. Your mind does not know what you need. It cannot, because our life or this journey is not belonging to the mind. The mind is just a assistant. It is just the hired hand to help us navigate and enjoy and serve us in a ways for our practical survival. And so what happens is when you're aching for adventure, the mind is making you resist finding surprise in daily living. The mind makes you forget to see that there's something sacred at stake in every moment. And you take action from a place of already joy and thrill versus to take action to get a joy and thrill. You can't take action out of boredom. Okay. If you take action out of boredom to try to get it's not going to work. You must already be in this place of thrill and excitement and joy in order to find a sense of adventure. Okay. And so the mind is trying to think that if you do something out of that boredom, remember, this isn't about being passive. This strategy isn't about being passive, but it's really about taking inspired action, but from already a place of where you want to be at. And in order to get to that place, you really have to be able to be comfortable with sitting back and feeling whatever sense of inadequacy or void or the fear of not getting the desires met. Okay, before we move on to the next section, what are y'all here in this for you all? It's a little maybe oversimplified or too much, but let me hear what y'all feel of getting this so far.
It definitely resonates with me. I feel like I'm in that process of like, I spent years running from the void, and now I'm like facing it, and it's not as bad as what I thought it was. And I'm able to like be in more of a flow because of it. And it's just like, okay, I'm sitting here in the darkness. I'm enough light in the darkness. It'll be okay.
Okay, very good. Thank you for sharing. Which one,
Yeah,
April, do you resonate the most with out of the four? Out of the four discontentments?
I would say so many, like all of them, because
I think you just broke up.
sorry.
Okay.
I've been like the type of person that's like aching for adventure, or feeling like if I do this, I will feel this way, and then I never feel this way. It's still that void. Because I've lived most of my life in movement. This is probably like the most settled I've been within the last 18 years. um, and so, because I've always been on this is next, this is next, this is next, but always feeling that discontentment once I'm there. And also like what you mentioned before about just being in the void just helps the suffering. Like, just trying to find things to fill it that's just not feeling it because you're just avoiding it.
And it grows.
It just grows. Yeah. It's just like, it just becomes louder until you just have to face it.
Okay. The fourth one, Chelsea, is subbing for success, starving for satisfaction. All right. I was answering Chelsea's question in the chat. She asked what was the fourth one. All right. Who else can I get some feedback from? What's in this for you so far, what you heard, and which one did you resonate the most with out of the four discontents?
I'd like to go. It's funny because when we got on the call, I told myself last week, I think you were at the rec center. So I was like, okay, I told myself I was going to come this week. And then when we got on, you were like, I'm at home. I was like, so he's not there. So I went back home, but then I was like, well, let me just go into the city anyway. And so I came into the city to do Uber, but listening to the presentation, I realized that I was doing Uber out of this sense to fill the void instead of embrace the void, instead of embrace this sense of, again, I'm still on this whole faith kick, but this whole thing of embracing the void and whatever it is that I'm feeling. And so I really resonated with that statement of taking action, inspired action out of a sense of fulfillment and not out of a sense of a need to fill the void. You know what I mean? So I decided, I was like, okay, well, instead of focusing on driving tonight, I was like, well, let me get out and get some movement, because that's what I've really been longing to do. Like walk, run, play, jump, something like that. So I was like, well, let me just kind of trust and take inspired action out of a sense of fulfillment instead of a need to be fulfilled. So I was like, okay, let's see what happens. So I'm actually doing it as we speak.
All right. And which one of them did you resonate the most with as your discontentment?
I definitely resonate with what was the one for helpless or for harmony? How did that go?
Helpless for harmony.
Yeah, I'm definitely there. I'm like, I definitely want to be harmonious, and it's like it's a struggle for me. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Dark.
Adam, I have a question. This is Chelsea.
Yeah.
So are you saying that in order to get to the place of fulfillment, we're supposed to sit in the void and create our own satisfaction from being grateful for the void?
Yeah, we're not doing anything. We are just surrendering and letting go and acknowledging, okay, I have a desire, right? We're going to do the work. The mind does not want us to do the work of getting in touch with our desire. And the desire is just us saying, yes, I'm ready to receive love and companionship. Yes, I'm ready to walk in this function. And by doing that, what happens is the reason why it doesn't want us to just sit still, because as we're sitting still and whether we're waiting to respond, whether we're waiting to take action, whether we're afraid of the rejection that may happen if we take action. All those things, what happens is it's the threat of the void. It's the threat of not getting, it's the threat of remaining in this emptiness. It's that in the meantime, it's a meantime. And what that meantime is, it's a void of having it go unmet. And what we're doing is we're running from it so hard that we create all these other backlogs of compounded desires that we got to work our way through. So it's really not so much, it's really, Chelsea's not creating anything. It's really just surrendering, letting go. And when you come in contact with the void, because you will, because when you wait, you're going to come in contact. When you're waiting for satisfaction and for the universe to make that need, you're going to come in contact with the void. When you're waiting for that fulfillment, when you release trying to control people's behaviors, you're going to meet it, because it's kind of all just there waiting for you to deal with. But the moment that you deal with it and embrace it, you realize, oh, this is what I'm running from. This is what I'm trying to control things for. This is what I'm trying to get met so hard. And then what happens is when you feel it and you realize, oh, this isn't as painful as I thought it was going to be, you can relax and let go. And then you can surrender even more and just sit in the back seat and be the passenger and not be afraid of the void. I don't know if I answered your question, Chelsea. I went on a tangent.
It does. So one of my best friends is a young, successful project manager, and her career is accelerating very fast. And just 2 days ago, she told me, hey, I thought that whenever I got my PMP and got my raise, I would be happy, but I'm still not happy and I don't know why. So, and that was just 2 days ago. So now I get to use what I've learned here to go back and share with her to see if that'll help. The only thing is that she's very analytical and she does believe in God, but she's not as well versed into spiritual topics and faith. Yeah. So I'm going to have to try to
well, the
cross
spirit will
that
give
boundary.
it to you. The spirit will lead it to you in the right way. Because all you got to do right now, you have a desire to minister to her, to help her bring a sense of peace and harmony in her life. And all you got to do, what that desire is telling you is you're capable and able to do it. And the moment was going to come.
Gotcha.
But what happens is the mind is probably blocking her from the mind. Again, what she's saying is the void is still there, right? Mm-hmm. The void is still there. The void does not go away. When you get the desired object, the void does not go away. So instead of what she's going to have to do now is she's still going to have to do a surrender to what is it that's missing and face that void, the emptiness of it all. And what it is emptiness. And let me try to break this down to y'all in a way I didn't put in the PowerPoint. Woo, I'm going to try to do this. Okay, Spirit, give me some words. This physical and material world we live in is all fake, okay? The material world is not real. The only thing that's real is the spiritual realms. Our world right now is really a bunch of agreements and meanings that we've made up and assigned. We've made up all these meanings of what success is, or what a woman is, what a man is, what it is black. We made up meanings for what is life. Everything we do is to communicate. We make up these meanings and we have these agreements. And everything in this world is really empty and void. It's really a shadow of things from the spiritual world. And as a result, it is all very empty and meaningless, except what we assign to it. Okay? It's all what we assign to it. So therefore, we always are constantly threatened with the emptiness and void of it all. And so it's growing day by day. And the more you invest in anything material to bring it to you or to bring you to satisfaction, the more you are actually growing the void in your life. So the more you go out to get, the more void you're going to experience. Because remember, everybody, it's always an inner experience that you want. It is nothing in this physical world, okay? The physical world is all fake things. Everything that you want in your body, everything that you want is an inner experience. A sense of satisfaction, it's an inner experience. A sense of success, it's an inner experience. A sense of harmony, it's an inner experience. And a sense of adventure, it's an inner experience. You can have an adventure washing your clothes. You can have an adventure just watching, sitting on the park, watching squirrels. I don't know. You can have, these are inner experiences. And your mind is so gullible that it really does not know the difference between what is real and what is true. And so it's always an inner experience that we're seeking. You want to feel rich and wealthy. You feeling rich and wealthy may be a sense of feeling, I was able to give $1 to those kids, all right? Y'all seen the memes and heard the jokes, right? You want to feel rich and wealthy? Take $10 to the dollar store, right? Go to the Dollar Tree with $10. You feel so good and wealthy in there, right? If you got $20, you like, whoa, man. It's an inner experience that we're always seeking. But the moment that we forget that it's the inner experience that we're seeking, and our mind says, oh no, what you want is that experience, that physical experience, is so empty and real, it can't be anything but a void. Because there is really nothing in the external world that really, really is going to give us the inner craving that we're desiring. It's all an inner experience that we're waiting for. And the universe knows if you just sit back in the seat and say, okay, I got a desire for this. Let me get ready to receive it. It knows how to meet your desires above and beyond. This is why the biblical scripture says, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, nor has it entered into the thought of man the good things that God has prepared for him.
That's good.
And so what happens is, again, we're so afraid of that emptiness. We're so afraid of all that meaninglessness, right? We're so afraid of it that then it creates a compounded desire to get more stuff, to fill it up, okay, to get him more satisfaction. And now the void just grows even more. And then we say, well, I need more satisfaction to not feel this void. And then it grows even more and more emptiness and more meaninglessness. And the more you go after it, anything to try to fill the void up, you actually expand the void. And then one day you're going to start trying to surrender. But what makes surrender so hard is that when the moment you let go of not getting things, you now have to come face to face with that void that you've been growing and running from your whole life. And that's what makes surrender so hard. That's what makes, in the meantime, such a mean time. And then it is compounded by the mind then says, oh my God, my job was to protect Addam, protect Chelsea, protect April, protect Morgan from the void. And because you're feeling that void, it creates those 4 fears that really prevent us. And because the mind is this narrative builder, it creates the pain. And so let's talk about these 4 fears. The fear of being seen as ugly, the fear of being seen as dumb, the fear of being seen as insignificant, the fear of being seen as a failure. And so it's these fears that also keep us from driving. Those fears keep us from being able to sit back and be the passenger, because those fears says, look, you're going to look really ugly when you're just left with this void. You're going to look really dumb and stupid when you're just left with this void. You're going to be really in love when you're just left with this void. You're going to be seen as a loser failure when you're just left with this void. And so once you get past that, that's when you can get in touch with the void. And you're like, okay, I'll just feel ugly, right? And you get in contact with that void, and it actually is the powerful thing that releases you, because then you can just be free. And then you can just take action when you need to take action. I'm having a hard time communicate this, but I hope y'all can feel from my enthusiasm and let that minister to you. Who else want to share what they're hearing for them? What's the questions? What's in this for them? Where they're at?
I want to share. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. It's actually interesting that you're talking about all of this today about the void, because literally this past 2 days I was feeling this fear of the void, that right now I'm unemployed and I basically need to find a job, and this void is like making me have fear, like I don't know what's gonna happen, and it's just like making me crazy, you know. And now I feel like kind of I got in peace with that, in a way that I'm okay. Yes, I'm having this now, but I'm still okay. I'm not like you know, in very bad situation, but I just need to, I guess, embrace it and let it go, and don't just like jump in from with my mind from one idea to another, and just like really get more deep with myself, I guess, and understand what I want. And as you said, right?
Yeah.
To get like to understand what is a desire, and just have this desire that it will be fulfilled. So it's interesting that we're talking about this right now. It's exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. I'm so glad. I'm so glad to hear it. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for your feedback, Chelsea. Thank you for your feedback, Morgan. Would you like to share, Morgan, what you got?
Oh my gosh, you're just amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. I knew there was a reason I was supposed to be here today and joining you guys. It's just amazing. I just realized this last week that that you know I try to brace myself against unpleasant feelings or unpleasant mental state or ideas or so on. That I brace and don't allow myself to feel them, because it's scary to not know if you can handle it or what's going to happen if you feel it. But I just experimented with, okay, here's an unpleasant feeling, and it was an anger that was being driven by kind of like being left out, loneliness, rejection, kind of, and it was so unpleasant. But I went, okay, let's be with this feeling, and I let it come through and experienced it and went, oh my gosh, this is just a feeling, just like a pleasant, happy feeling. It's just a feeling. If you allow it to move through you and in your experience, you can tolerate it. And there was such a lesson in that oh my gosh, it's not as bad as I thought. Oh my gosh, I don't just disappear or but it's the resistance that was making it so bad.
Yes.
The actual experiencing of it. And so then you can come towards your life or anything that comes up.
Yes.
That you can respond instead of react. You can allow instead of push, because you're just making that void bigger. Exactly what you said. The more you resist it, you're creating this thing that you become more afraid of.
Yes.
Existing in tandem or as integrated into your experience. And so you're always trying to dodge it by doing all those mental gymnastics, things that your mind tells you to do. Get the next adventure. But what you do when you go, okay, when I get this car, I'm going to be happy. You spend all this time going, I'm going to avoid all these negative things, get this car, I'm going to feel happy. The moment you get that car, the only thing you've succeeded in doing is to stop for 1 second that desire to have that car. And that desire to have that car is very simple. When you get the car, that desire stops. You're not addressing the void. You're just, you know what I mean? It's amazing. Addam, I don't know. I just, wow. I'm in awe. Thank you so much. Thanks for letting me.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Thank you for that feedback and your enthusiasm. But everything you said is so right. It's the fear of that emptiness. It's that fear of that void that is the suffering. It's not the void. It's not the emptiness. It's not the meaninglessness. It's the fear of meaninglessness. It's the fear of my life will not matter. What will I have? I will have nothing. It's the fear of that is actually so worse than it. And when you just go ahead and just feel it and just be in the darkness of the void, you're like, oh, this is what I really have been doing all this freaking running from? Really? And you can just show up and say, let me just sit back and be a passenger now. Okay. And it takes some practice, because the mind's going to be like, we better do something. We better do something. We better do something. It's very subtle because these fears come up. And these fears say you're going to be seen as ugly. You're going to be seen as dumb and stupid. You're going to be seen as insignificant. And you're going to be seen as a failure. And so the mind is like, trying to tell you like, don't do this, but all it's doing every time you give into it is creating a bigger void. Thank you, Morgan. Thank y'all. I'm glad y'all got. I'm thankful for this feedback because this was really a first timer trying to go there in this. Anybody else want to share what's in it for them, where they're at? Or y'all still y'all just quiet or my computer froze?
So we're still here. We're just soaking it in.
Yeah, definitely here. Yep.
Okay. So I want to encourage you all. When you can just give gratitude, that's how I do it. I always like to give gratitude for whatever it is. The work is really about getting to a place of knowing that this is, let me go back to my first slide. Hold on, y'all. It's really about being in a place of knowing that this, as simple as it may sound, that this is not our life. All right? It may sound contradictory and it may trigger you just thinking about it. It's not your life. It's only your ride. It's only your ride. Most of y'all have played a game of Mafia with me, where I give you the card, give you an experience. You're just here to just say, okay, this is the card dealt to me. Okay. But what happens is a card is dealt to you, and then you have a desire for something else. Instead of just saying, okay, well, thank you, God, for this desire. And all the desire is saying, get ready to receive something else. Get ready to receive it. And it's not just letting you know that you can receive it, that you're going to receive it, but the desire is letting you know what you're capable of taking into your experience. And so therefore, you really can give God gratitude for your desires. The hardest work that I've encountered is getting to the core desires. Some people feel like it's a failure because first you got to deal with the pain and the heartbreak, the negative emotion, okay? The grief. You got to get through the grief. You got to get through the shame. You got to get through the anger. But underneath the anger, underneath the shame, underneath the grief, underneath the apathy, there is a core desire urge, right? And when you can get to that, then you're going to be able to get to that core wound of feeling abandoned because you do not have it. And in that core wound of realizing this is what I want so badly and I don't have it. And then you feel that void. And when you feel that void, I know I sound crazy, but that's when you feel your power and your freedom. But the work is all of this negative emotion of feeling stupid, feeling ugly, feeling dumb, feeling not enough is covering up the base desires. And so that's why I keep an emotional address log on my phone now. So I want to be able to stay in touch with my desires the moment they arise. I don't want, because what would happen is, so let's say that you have a desire for intimate companionship. That's natural, that's real. That's God saying, hey, get ready for companionship. But you say, well, how can I get it? Well, I'll join a dating site. So now I'm on a dating site looking for a companion. Well, I get rejection. Well, I get rejection, now I feel ugly, okay? So I don't want to feel ugly anymore, so I'll do something else to make myself feel more. Now I have a desire to do something so I don't feel ugly. And then now I'm embarrassed. So now I got shame. And now I'm so far down the road and so far away from my core desire of just wanting companionship and intimacy that I forget that's what I initially wanted. Now I'm over here trying to do 1,000 other things. And so what happened is in this surrendering work process, I'm going to have to deal with the shame of being embarrassed for that action that I did. They don't have to deal with the embarrassment of the rejection. They don't have to let go of that. And then I'm going to do all this backtracking to get back to the core desire. I just wanted to intimacy and companionship. All right. Because then you say, well, I really want a career at this, but instead I'll just take this job over here, working at the Waffle House. in the meantime. And then somewhere in that, you forget what's your initial, oh God, I hate these people at the Waffle House. I could just get my coworkers to act right here at the Waffle House. Oh, if I can get another location. And you get so far away from the original desire, right? And you forget what you originally wanted. And so the work is really surrendering and letting go. And you got to deal with every unpleasant emotion. Why are you angry? Well, what was underneath that? And what was underneath that? And then you'll get to a core real desire, right? A core real desire. And you'll know, oh my God, I was doing all that because I really just wanted to be seen and recognized. My God. But it became so much, and it's like a layer, pulling back the layers. Take away that, and then you're going to get to this base desire. And it may feel painful. And then you're going to realize, my gosh, this desire has never been met. I'll never get this desire met, and I'll be alone for all of my life. I will never have a partner or a spouse. And in that moment, if you say, well, thank you, God, for this being aloneness and not having this need met. And then you feel that void, and right then and there go your breakthrough, and there go your power. And as we always know, once you don't need something, voila, there it goes. Here it comes. Okay, did that little recap make sense to you all?
It did.
Okay, all right. Any more feedback or questions, comments about the void? And this is not our life, this is just our ride.
It kind of reminds me of a quote by Eckhart Tolle, life is a dancer and you are the dance, where we would think that we would be the dancer and life is a dance, but it's kind of like that opposite. And I remember hearing a few years ago, and I was like, but would it, kind of like, well, wouldn't we be like the dancer? But like how you explain it, it makes sense. How we are the dance and life is the dancer.
And it can be scary. That it sounds intimidating, especially when we've been living such dominated, we've been living lives so dominated by our mind, by our ego.
And I think essentially it means, like you're saying, you're just letting go and just living life instead of just trying to control life. You just allow yourself to live in the flow of life and living through life instead of just trying to quest your way through it. And
so yes. So again, I want to let you all know this process is this. Find out what is the negative emotion that you're resisting. The moment you feel any form of pain, the moment you feel pain, ask yourself, what unpleasant emotion is this? All right. Use a Hawkins scale of consciousness. The first thing you want to do is you want to address what natural unpleasant shame is this that you're feeling. Okay. And then begin to try to, but what you're aiming to do is you're trying to get to what is the core thing that is happening. Okay, I'm angry over what? I'm angry over that, and it's making me this. Okay, well, what? Talk to yourself like a child. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What is missing? And you want to get yourself back to the core desire. It may take a while. You may spend a few days in apathy before you can get to your desire. You may spend a few days in grief. But once you get to the thing that you're craving and seeking and then release it, that's where the work is. But the process is trying to always get back to what is the what? What is the what that you're wanting and longing for? Okay, everybody, I'm not going to hold y'all up. We ended class early tonight. I'm glad that y'all received that. I hope this truly brought y'all some light and progress. In this short little presentation that I put together, but I hope it's blessed me living it and practicing it out. And I'm sure I'm going to continue to improve upon it. All right, before we sign off, any questions or more comments? Okay. You speak.
I was wondering, on those days, there's nothing happening. It's not being productive in the process. That I just wanted your reassurance, or to hear you say, on those there'll be a day that goes by that I don't feel like I'm actively doing anything. But should I trust? Can you just trust that there's something happening, that something's moving, that something will happen? Because I have a hard time just relaxing back on those days and those time periods.
Yeah, in that moment, always what I begin to do is say, okay, I'm gonna wait here and for an inspired action to come. Because there is something you can always be doing, but you wait for it to come out of a place of satisfaction. And you remember, oh, I need to do this. Oh, I need to do that. But be okay in the moment being in that void or the emptiness of not having it. But we're moving, everybody. Remember, we are in a car and we're all moving. That's what makes resistance so painful, because you're moving. And what happens is, as your vehicle, if y'all can imagine this, you're riding down the road in the car, in the back seat, moving, passing by McDonald's. And all of a sudden you say, ooh, I want McDonald's. And now you're trying to get out the car, you're trying to turn the car around. But what you don't realize is, thank you, Spirit. I don't know I hope y'all get this illustration. The highway that you're on is a moving highway. What do you call those walking ramps at the airport?
Mm.
What's the name for them?
Moving sidewalks, I think it is.
Yeah, the moving sidewalks, where you're on a moving highway in a moving car. So the moment you try to go back and get this or reach out and get this and get in another lane, you're in trouble. That's why resistance is so painful, because we are moving. Right now, we're moving. We're moving in this planet through space. We're moving. Our lives are moving forward. We're getting older. Everything is moving. We're in a movement. We're in a car that's moving, on a highway that's moving. And so the moment you try to say, oh, stop, I don't want to lose that. I don't want that to go. Come back, McDonald's. Oh, come back this. Instead of just saying, you don't ever know what's coming up. So that's why resistance is so painful, because it's dangerous, because you're trying to stop the movement. You're trying to get out the car and you're trying to walk backwards on the moving sidewalk. And it's just vanity. Instead of just saying, okay, well, I just got to just hold on to these rails and just let it move me. And then it'll come. Just sit there and feel that void, but you're moving. We're moving, and our life is moving. And things are being brought to us, and we're being brought to it. Because that sidewalk is moving, you're always moving. You're always moving. It's only when you get in resistance and try to hold on that you suffer. You hold on to the side. And you just and you're not letting go.
Thank you.
All right. Thank y'all for receiving this. Y'all make sure, I'm going to post this on my podcast. Y'all can follow me at Addam for Addam. My podcast is it's on my Instagram feed at Addam from Addam. You can cash at me and I'll give that donation. Percentages to the Enlightened Collective. If you appreciate this exchange, you want to bless me, you can cash at me or PayPal me at AddamMelvin is at gmail.com. And then I'll make sure that we give this portion to the Enlightened Collective for facilitating this awesome venue and sport. All right, I'm not sure, y'all, if I'm going to do a Friday night Raise Your Vibration. I'm supposed to be headed to North Carolina for my mother's birthday weekend that I've agreed to do. So I may be traveling, but I haven't decided yet. So y'all stay tuned for the meetup page. Leah might be available at the last minute. It's her birthday weekend too. Or Jackie might be available, or Charles might be available to lead the RIV this Friday night. They'll let me know. But in the meantime, everybody, y'all have a great night. Stay in gratitude and do the inner work. May I make a request? Yes.
This is kind of like an old Christian technique or whatever, but can you guys send like light protection and just ease and comfort to my dad? He's going into like his second open heart surgery tomorrow, actually. So we're kind of all been kind of bracing ourselves to kind of get through that experience. So just kind of send him love and light, ease, comfort, you know, any kind of positivity that you can, so that him and everybody involved can kind of be cool like this, you know, at peace.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much.
Definitely. And let it be done now. Let peace be upon Charles' family, his father's heart, his father's mind. Let peace come let Charles be a facilitator of peace for his family. All healing comes out of peace. Peace is what is the precipice for healing and recovery. May Charles hold his family in a state of peace and comfort. Amen. So Charles, I just want to encourage you to continue to invoke peace upon your families, your hearts, your mind, and your own space. And, and send peace. Imagine blue light, blue peace in your Father.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you all. God bless y'all, everybody. Have a good night.